on Craigslist at the end of the day.
Yeah,
So
that's true. That's true.
I mean, it
Hey,
is what
mommy,
it
you
is.
gotta watch Naya's videos. She talks about going down into the vibrations and how like the masculine had to control the feminine in order for that to happen because the earth is feminine and like it's really interesting. I think you'd.
You know which video is that? I definitely resonate with that. I've been watching a little bit and trying to look up some more about understanding divine femininity.
The earth is definitely feminine.
Yeah,
You know.
and I follow, the teachings of Stuart Wilde, and he talks a lot about the tribal consciousness and how that they were, it was basically to control the population. They treated women like cattle, and because they needed the women to give birth to more warriors to make the tribe strong. And if you look in the Bible, back in the Old Testament, they had millions of wives and concubines. Women just were never respected. They were never respected, and that's why we had to like claw our way up to society to become what we are today in 2018.
Well, let me ask you this one question to the ladies, and like, why do a lot of women, they'll act dumb on purpose? Even they know the answer, but they want to ask their man a question just so he can kind of feel like, oh, I'm the man. I can talk to her about, why this car is not running good, and they play. A lot of women will play that, kind of dumb blonde routine, to kind of, give preference to the man. So I mean, is it just society or what?
I don't do that. I got a 4.0 in college. I don't need to act dumb. I'm smart.
And you know what? I have a college degree too, but I'm not gonna lie. With my husband, there was he was of course a narcissist and toxic, but there was a lot of manipulation there, and I found myself, in order to make him feel good, because he always was like, "Oh, Simone, you don't support me, or you don't respect me," and so I would try to like give him space to make him feel good about himself. And I would be like, oh, and act kind of dumb. Like, he moved into my house, right? And he was like claiming to be this chef and wanted to always cook. But all along, I was a great cook. I was a wonderful cook. And my daughter would be like, and he would cook every night. He'd be like, nope, I'm in charge of the kitchen. My daughter would be like, Mom, does he know that you can cook? And I'm like, and I never really like showed him that I can make some amazing food, and I didn't have to study for school for it. And so like, but when I started trying to cook, he always would get really jealous and envious of it, or he would say something was wrong with my food. I remember I made some what's that? It's a Thai food, and it's the noodle. It's pad Thai. I made some pad Thai one day, and I was like, "Oh, you guys are gonna love this." I had learned this recipe, and so I went out of the room. I come back. He bought some type of meat, some nasty meat. Chopped it all up. It changed the whole color of the meal. It changed the taste of it. He just like ruined it. And I was just like, wow, no respect there. And it's just like, I understand what you're talking about, G-Man, because like sometimes we do it just to please. It's just like when a woman fakes an orgasm, right? Just like they don't want they don't want to demasculate him by him thinking that, you weren't the one, that you weren't able to please me. But the truth is, when you're not having an orgasm, it doesn't have nothing to do with him. It might have something to do, like with me, when my husband when I found out he was having an affair. After that, I couldn't have an orgasm in sex. Like,
I think that's the killer right there.
Yeah,
that's the woman
about him
though.
another woman, and so it got to the point where he was
no way
about it, and he's just like, "You're thinking about another man. I can't believe I don't even satisfy you anymore." So the next thing you know, I started faking it so he could feel better.
Oh wow!
I've never had that problem. I've always thought like if a woman doesn't have an orgasm, big deal. It was always I'm the one frustrated. If I can't have an orgasm because being a man, you just gotta go to the conclusion. Otherwise, you're just all pissed off and grouchy.
Yeah.
I've never done the whole faking it thing. I don't know. I've always been rather honest with people, but I can understand what would make a woman want to cater to a man's ego and stuff. It like the manipulate, like Naya says, it's a way that women have learned to protect themselves in a society where man has been dominating, and it's scary. It's scary, and so a woman wants to try to like please a man. We're very like people pleasers a lot of times, and I've done it in other ways too. Not just with a man, but in society in general. Like, we don't want to cause a fuss. We don't want to, because we want to be safe, right? So we don't want to risk ruffling any feathers, So
And
Yeah, very well said. Yeah.
and I agree with you. Like I've always believed that if a guy is not satisfying me, he needs to know and he needs to learn how to do it. But like,
Right.
There you go.
and the only reason why I didn't take that approach with my husband is like he was this toxic person that was he was manipulating me to the core,
Yeah.
and it just got to the point where he would start such a fuss and such an issue and would drain me emotionally that if it took me faking a couple of times, and I didn't do it that often, I finally told him. I told him the truth. I said I'm
Yeah.
just having a hard time. I just it's hard for me. And I told him that I'm still thinking about you and this other woman. And so, but everyone, I did it a couple of times because he was really like, he was so toxic and it was like draining me. And I just had to like, if that shut his ass up, then I was going to
Yeah.
do
There you
it.
go. Yeah.
Sex is very emotional for a woman. Like seriously, like I wouldn't be able to either. Loyalty is very important to me. I'm not going to mess around with someone who's like I want to be chosen, you know what I mean? Like if you don't want to choose me, then be on your merry way. Like don't play the field and like I don't need to mess with that, you know? Of course you wouldn't be able to. Like any woman wouldn't be able to. Like that makes total sense.
Like, it was like the moment that it would come close, like I would be like so close, all of a sudden I would see him with this other woman and it was gone. I was just like every time, and I didn't realize that.
The mommy's frozen in time.
Did I freeze?
Yeah, for
Okay, you're back.
Okay. But y'all heard me, right?
No.
I
you
was saying
froze.
that it would get to the point where the moment, like I would get close to having an orgasm, I'll be right there. But that moment where I'm about to have it, a picture of him and another woman would pop in my head,
Right.
and it was gone. I just couldn't do it.
Ruin the whole thing.
Yeah, it
Yes.
would ruin the whole thing. It definitely takes an emotional effect on you when you lose trust like that. And
Yeah.
it's like the way
Yeah.
I am. I'm not a casual. I don't casually sleep with anybody. I have to. Have
Me, yeah, either. Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah.
This has got to be so boring to Candace. She doesn't date, doesn't care to date. Right? She got.
I don't date
the
either.
subject. You don't date either.
No, I haven't in a long time. No.
But I mean, do you eventually want to be married or have to find the right man? Is that because I don't think Candace has that goal at all? Do you?
Nope, I don't.
And you don't
Really?
desire it, Candace?
No, I don't.
Can I ask how come, or is it just?
Did you used to?
Oh, hold on. What's going on with my phone here? Oh, a notification came in. Never mind. Sorry. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
What was the question?
I was asking, can I ask how come you don't want to date, or did you originally want to and now you changed your mind, or?
In my 20s, in my teens and 20s, I kind of did, but after that, I just didn't want to anymore. I didn't want to. I didn't want it anymore. They just, it just wasn't. They didn't interest me. I guess it wasn't interesting to me at all. It's as if that part of me just didn't exist.
Well, I came out of an abusive marriage and a lot of bad stuff, and I just, yeah, that will make anyone gun shy, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
So.
And me, I think a lot has to do with the religious thing. How I didn't believe in sex before marriage, so it's hard for me to like.
Either.
and then, like we're in a society where it's kind of you can't just men want to have sex, they don't want to wait, and like I finally accepted the fact that I don't have to be married to have sex, but at the same time I can't do it right away. I had for the longest, like the last guy I dated, we dated for like 3 months. I was sleeping next to him practically naked. We weren't having sex. It took like 3 months to even for that to happen for me.
3 months.
Yeah.
Well, you got to do what's right for you. I mean, there's nothing wrong with waiting till marriage because a lot of people believe that that's sacred and special. And, I certainly believe that the body is sacred and special. And that's why loyalty is important to me. And, so everyone's different in what they desire. It's all good. It's all okay. Just because you don't, you could have waited a year. And if it's the right guy, then he'll stick around.
It's true. It's true.
And I don't even really know if I believe in the institution of marriage anymore, especially what I'm learning about the divine feminine and masculine, and the fact that marriage, how in the Bible it says in heaven there's no marriage or given in marriage. And
Right.
and Naya said that it wasn't any marriage, but there were still relationships. Made me realize. It made me realize that again is something that was made to control the religion, the people in religions. It's saying, oh, you have to get married, you have to have kids. That's another way to control the woman. The woman's the weaker vessel, and I totally see that. So now I'm starting to see that was the marriage thing is something that was probably made up, and we didn't really have to do
I don't think so. I don't sense that. I think if you're with someone for a long time and you think this is my best friend, I want to be with this person forever, I think it's kind of neat, kind of cool to have this bond, and you know, she takes your last name, or now you can take her last name, and you're like, you know, one, and it's legally bound. You know, I'm legally bound. I mean, it's kind of nice, you know. I mean,
I'm not against it. I'm not against it, but I'm just saying the way the church put it to us, it's like we couldn't have sex before marriage. You know, I'm okay with like if the right person come along, I'm definitely okay with getting married again. But what I'm saying is I don't have to be married. Okay,
right.
As long as I come within my own strength, and I'll be fine either way.
I do think it's kind of silly though that, you know, someone in their 20s takes this vow, you know, that I will be with you for the rest of my life. You know, people are going to change so much from 20 to 30 to 40, and expect this other person to change along with you. Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous, really. You know, I mean,
some people manage to. There are people who've been married like all their lives, and actually, one thing I did enjoy about my religion was the sealing for eternity. Like, it wasn't just till death do you part. It was like forever, you know. And you weren't just sealed to your spouse. You could be sealed to your children or your family or whatever. And there was something nice about that. Like, oh, I'm going to be with them forever, you know? And so a part of me does want to be with someone, like, forever and, like, vibrate with them and change with them and adventure through the cosmos with them. You know, I'm a romantic at heart. But
adventure through the cosmos.
That's me.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
What's your take on that, Seth? You've been quiet. You've been hiding out over there. What's up?
I'm just listening. I don't want to get lost in the sauce.
What's your thought on?
Yeah, I'm not a romantic in the least, or sentimental.
I can be. I mean, I felt it. I've understood it, but I think it's just an alignment between, you know, me and the right people at the time.
Do you think you'll be married today?
Do I think I'll be married?
Yeah.
I think if I'm not married, I'll at least have like a life partner. Yeah, I think we'll agree. Like, we don't need to put it on paper because you know we're just vibing right now. So.
Do you want to have kids one day?
Part of yeah, I'm pretty sure, but I think I'll be a lot older. I think I'll literally be like a 50-year-old dad the first time around.
That's probably better, really.
I'm actually gonna require to be married. Like, if someone wants to get that serious, only because everything I've been through with guys, like I'm gonna need some paperwork. I'm gonna need some proof. You know, I'm like the people that are like, oh, you know, no, we don't need the paper. You know, those are the ones that they don't have the paper, so they can walk away at any time. They can meet all these other women, and so you know what? I need you to say I'm willing to make this commitment to you. And so, like, I've always had a problem getting men who wanted to be committed, or they would say they were committed and they were lying about the commitment.
Right.
At least this way, you know, 1 out of 2 things is over.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, my parents weren't married, but they were divorced twice before, so they just were together. But I get it. I mean, I get why people do it over possessions and structure.
Oh, yeah.
But I whatever happens with me, I'm just gonna make sure that no matter what, we just always have an open mind, and I wouldn't be with that person if I have to worry about, you know, putting some kind of stamp on something or not. You know, like maybe we will, maybe we won't, but it'll work out.
It's like I was saying that, you know, people change so much. I mean, I was engaged to this girl in 1999. I came out of amnesia, as I put it, about a year or so later. Really, she kind of caused it. Really, she was like the start of it. And, you know, had I married that woman, I don't know where I'd be today. I mean, if I would have came out of Christianity and she didn't, you know, that obviously would be a really bad strain.
Probably be divorced by now.
Yeah, probably so.
I'm pretty sure.
So I just would have maybe destroyed her life and mine along with it. But she met some guy. Well, actually, she left me for this guy. And I don't know if they're still married or not, but it worked out best for everybody.
Your partner?
My partner.
Your partner.
That's one of those things that when you break up with somebody that you're engaged to and you think this is the woman, man, it's tough. You can't figure out like why is this happening. But then I look back and I'm like, I see why it happened. It changed who I was. Then the next person I met, because I was really just wanting to break from Christians, and then she was all into Neil Donald Walsh. And I thought like, who is this guy? Then when she started reading me book one, and then she got on tape, and we listened to it in the car, I'm like, this is really good. And I just started wanting more and more and more. But if you would have told me like a year or so earlier that I would not be a Christian no more and be listening to New Age stuff, I would have thought, man, no way, never.
Yeah.
It's amazing, what can happen.
Because it's that safety net, We all want safety net. That's all we want.
Well, I believed it. I mean, I really thought this was it, and like what Simone was saying, there's all these other religions. You hope you have the right one. And I had those doubts, like, was Jesus really real? Because it's just kind of tacked on the New Testament to the Old Testament. They're almost like two different books and religions. And and it's like, was that just Satan making this whole thing up? Because over in Israel, they only believe in the Old Testament, And I remember when the first Gulf War happened, that's when they started talking about Muslims and all that. And I'm like, gee, there's all these Muslims over there. Maybe they're right. I went to the library. I checked out the Quran and then the book Hindu. I can't remember what it's called. And, anything I could find of foreign religions, like, maybe I'm missing something.
Because
they all were.
The thing that got me with the Muslims, when they did that 9/11 terrorist attack and they killed themselves for that. That's for their religion. They were willing to kill themselves, and that's when I realized that they believed in this religion. Like, what can get you to believe it unless you believe that it's true? So you can't take anyone's belief system away from them. You just can't.
I thought that too. But they were young too. You would not see a 50-year-old man getting in a plane and smashing it into a building. But a 25-year-old, you could brainwash them.
I don't care what religion I'm in. I'm not getting in the plane and killing myself and nobody else.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like, I never want to choose that, or it's just ridiculous.
At that point, like, I'm out. Peace. I'm done with your religion.
You think of Jim Jones. I don't know if you all remember him. He was a
I know that is. Guyana.
I've been thinking about Jim Jones since I've learned all this stuff.
Yeah, he got his whole congregation to drink poison.
And they killed themselves, but the truth is, they really did leave this. That now that I know that you don't just die and go away, they actually all decided to leave this dimension together. But I heard he was killing those people on purpose. They did.
Yeah. Well, he killed a senator. How it started, the senator came down to check out Guyana. And I don't know what caused it, but they shot the senator. There was video of that, actually. They were trying to get on the plane and fly away. And then from then, he just decided to give poison out to the whole fellowship, the congregation, and they just drank all this poison. And knew it was poison, too. It wasn't like, oh, here's a Kool-Aid break, And kind of like Heaven's Gate. Remember Heaven's Gate? They all committed suicide because they thought at the end of the comet was a spaceship, and their souls were going to go up to that. Remember that? And there was
I saw those interviews. Those people.
But one guy survived. I did not know this. One guy actually survived, and then he got released from the hospital or whatever. It was like 9 months later he committed suicide after all this had happened. That's faith, I mean, that's right or wrong.
Traumatized. Well, because of that, or was he traumatized?
I don't know. I mean, I guess he just believed it,
Maybe he thought he could catch up to them.
Yeah, that's probably what he thought. Yeah.
Those people just all looked funny. I remember seeing those interviews. They all just looked like.
Oh, the leader did. The leader looked kind of funny.
Just weirdos, like.
But when you listen to that dude, Seth, I can't remember the guy's name. There's some videos on YouTube. He sounds kind of like Naya. He talks about, Earth is about to be recycled. Like, he had a near-death experience. He was like a normal business guy. He had a near-death experience, and he was showing all these visions and stuff. Then he came back and started preaching all that for a good 10 or 15 years. And he said, just like Naya, guy is about out of here, ready to go to 5D. He was saying the same thing.
Which guy is this now?
The Heaven's Gate. The Heaven's Gate. Guy.
Yeah, I mean, he probably, but he was just a little bit more, like, edgy or whatever he was. He was like, yeah, let's. I mean, I don't picture Naya like.
But you think about this. But you think about this. Naya's not afraid of dying. She said if Hillary Clinton got elected, that her and Steph were just going to just check out of here. That's so.
But then at the same time, she says that stuff shouldn't matter anyway. So it's like it shouldn't affect her. I don't care about Trump. I mean, I don't. I think it's funny. It's just entertainment.
It's all a game. There's no change, right? I mean, I've seen,
She just didn't want to experience those timelines. That's why she said that.
Right.
So
she knew it'd get
I
cut
guess